Nice.
Okay.
Good job.
Woo!
Hey.
Hey, hi Jess.
Hi, Aim.
Hi everyone.
Hey.
We are
Big
Big
love.
Hug. We didn't even practice that one or
No,
anything.
that's awesome.
You think that was good?
It's been a minute. It's been a minute. It's good to be back, though. I've missed
Yeah.
this. I really
Yeah,
missed
I
this.
know, I know. Yeah,
Mhm.
hopefully we're on a monthly routine from here on.
This is the plan. It's on the schedule now, everybody. You can count
Yes.
on it.
Yes, watch out. Here we come. Monthly podcast. Whoa.
Hey, today's spring equinox. It's the first day of spring.
Hey, great time to start something new.
It's a great time.
Yes. All right. Speaking of spring, we're going to talk about aging. Spring is like youth. you know? We're going to talk
Where's the
about
connection?
winter of life. But first, we wanted to talk about why even have a podcast? Do people actually care about anything anymore? Are you listening?
Right. Well, part of it for me, the conversation came into like, why are we doing this podcast? And for me, it was like, because it's really important, because I really enjoy talking with you, Aim.
Yeah.
But if it was just up to me, I don't think I would do it because there's a part of me that doesn't feel like I have anything important to say.
Mhm.
That comes from old stuff from my youth, but also there's so many podcasts. Like y'all could be listening to anything right now. Like, why are you listening to us? I'm glad that you are. I'm really glad you don't go. But like, is it because we giggle and like people need more laughter in their lives? Like maybe, or maybe this is just because it feels like you're talking to your best friend because we are.
Yeah.
And like, there's a lot of lonely in the world. So to have somebody talking where it feels like a conversation rather than being talked at, like, hey, you know what? I think our podcast is awesome because it's all these things, right? It's not necessarily about like having the most wise thing to say, but maybe it's just about being part of community.
Just coming together and speaking from our hearts and sharing what we believe and what we know in a way that we feel like is inclusive and yeah,
Yeah.
open. Hmm.
No, I think this is a good thing.
Yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
I just put a lot of pressure on myself to like have to like say the most important thing ever. And I don't think that that's necessarily what we need to be doing here. Like you said,
And
it's just
also,
talking from the heart.
yeah, it doesn't translate very well. I notice like when I'm trying to say something special or important, there's usually this pressure inside myself. And
Hmm.
then I get my whale eyes and I get really intense and I'm like, this is so important. And then, and then it's like it doesn't just go in very well. There's too much
Yeah,
that internal pressure to do it well or say it right.
right.
It's hard
And
to,
for those who are just listening, you've said this before in our podcast, and if you're not watching what whale eyes is, can you just describe what whale eyes looks like for people who are just listening?
that's a, yes, that's a good, you're so good about that, Jess, about remembering, like not everybody's
Not
watching.
everybody's watching.
So whale eye is a term that I learned when I was training my mom's dog who had some behavior problems. And he had whale eye often, which means that you can see the whites around your iris. You can see the whites of your eye all the way around. Yeah. And it's kind of this startled, stunned fear state.
Okay, gotcha.
And often when I get excited, it's kind of a combination of fear state and passion. It's like both like, I've got this really important thing to say. But I scare people, right? I scare myself when I see it. I'm like, whoa, back off. Well, so yeah, settling and relaxing and trusting ourselves and trusting that we do have something valuable to say, everybody
Mhm.
does. We're
Yeah,
just willing to do it.
yeah,
We're willing to get out here, record ourselves, put it out there, and say, hey, this might be interesting to you.
yeah. Well, so thank you all for listening and for being here.
Yeah.
And yeah, great. I love it. I'm so glad that we do this. I
Yeah.
love it.
Me too.
All
Okay.
right.
We decided,
Aging,
yeah, we decided to talk about aging since since everybody's doing it.
unless you're dead.
Unless you're dead, you're doing it. If you're listening to this podcast, you too are aging.
One of my clients yesterday, he said he's almost 70. He said, I don't recommend turning 70. I was like, well, that's my plan. So I don't know what you mean, but I'm planning on it. But I'm
Mhm.
planning on doing it in a way where I feel healthy and, as healthy as, like, do the things that you can do to stay healthy. And then there's things that you can't control, but, like, yeah, I'm planning on it.
Yeah. And even if things happen that we can't control, hopefully we can cultivate an attitude of acceptance and,
Hmm.
just being okay with whatever happens. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Jane Fonda is actually a great role model. I think she's 85. And I was listening to an interview. She's got a great interview on another great podcast. It's Julia Louis-Dreyfus called Wiser Than Me. And
Mhm.
if you want to listen to something else awesome, she interviews Jane Fonda, and she basically says, like, she still exercises, the whole, like, Jane Fonda workout thing, which I did religiously. She still works out. She just modifies it to meet where she's at. She just doesn't stop, like, and it's not just working out, but, like, she's an activist in the world, and she just is so passionate. She's passionate and she keeps moving, like, and for me, she's an incredible role model of
Yeah.
how I want to be aging, is not doing the same thing that I'm doing now, but to keep doing things and being passionate about the things that I'm doing.
And she doesn't have a single wrinkle on her face.
There's some plastic surgery there. She's
A
not afraid to talk about
lot. A lot.
it. And we're going to talk
So
about that too.
we'll
Where should
get
we
to that.
start? Where do we
Yeah,
begin?
we'll get to that.
Yeah. Amy has some notes, but says she can't read them because her eyes.
Because I'm too old. I can't see them.
And we said them out loud, but I don't remember them because of menopause.
So I can say I'm 54. A lot of times people don't talk about their age. They don't say how
Mhm.
old they are. And I'm 54.
I'm 53.
Hmm. And just recently have been starting to see, I have never felt my age. I don't feel any older than when I was like a little kid, really. I just really don't inside my body and my mind and my spirit. I always feel about the same. But lately really see it. I see my aging. And
Mm-hmm.
that's been interesting, especially I video myself so often. And so I see myself so often. I almost think I'd be a little bit happier if I was just living my life and I was kind of in that kind of blissful, like I feel like a child, so I probably am state. And then I see myself like, wow, that's a lot of wrinkles, or like, oh, my hair got so gray. I didn't realize it, and then the question of like, why is that a judgment? Why am I upset about that? Like, why is that? And I think for me, I can say it's a combination of conditioning from society that like beauty equals youth, younger is more beautiful. So if I'm showing signs of aging, then I'll be perceived as less beautiful. That, and
Mm-hmm.
also like the real threat of mortality, of like, oh, time must be running out. Like, oh, I must not be a child anymore if I have a bunch of wrinkles. However, if I have 50 years left ahead of me, I have a lot more time than somebody who dies when they're 20, So it's like the second half of my life can be longer than some people's lifetimes. Does that make
It's
sense?
true.
Not everybody gets to live a
Yeah,
long life. So, I
it's true.
yeah, have a lot. I feel like,
That's another thing that I heard somebody say, like, aging is a privilege.
yes, it
Like,
really is.
gratitude that we're aging, like, not everybody gets this.
Yes. Yeah.
I had an interesting experience when I was at an ice cream shop in Hawaii a couple weeks ago, and I was about to call them women. Well, technically, I don't know when you call somebody a woman. They were very young. I kind of want to call them girls. Maybe they were working, so probably older than 16, but very young. And I said something about, they were serving me ice cream, and I said something about the flavor, and they just like rolled their eyes at me. Like, here I am, like some stupid old grandma. And they were like, this is the story I made up, was the eye roll was they knew more than me, and they thought that I was stupid.
Mm.
And it just struck me, like, my first response was, you don't know me. You don't know how awesome I am. Like, I wanted to like show them or say
Yeah.
something to take them down a notch, like they were looking down on me.
That's
is
interesting
what
in
it
your
felt like.
response, like that you wanted to push them down, right? Like they were like pushing
I'm
you down.
like,
You're like, get
right. I'm like,
attitude.
oh, wait a minute, girly.
Uh-huh.
And then I think about how I am with elders, and like it's easy to forget, like to see somebody who's old and maybe hunched over and walking slowly, like they have lived a huge long life and have done incredible, I'm sure incredible things that I will never know about, that they deserve more respect because the life that they lived was so long and hopefully so rich. And to stop and ask questions and to hear about it and honoring them. I have a client who's in her mid 70s, and the stories that she tells of the things in her youth and the wild things that she's done, you would never know by looking at her.
Mhm.
You just would never know. And I love finding that out. I just, maybe the older I get, the more aware I am that when we age, we have gathered so many interesting stories, and taking the time to listen just rather than write them off as like old people who know nothing.
Right, right. That consciousness that comes from kind of like the cutting edge of society, which tends to be perceived as, whatever's new, like technology and youth, like old people kind of like know nothing about technology, and so they're kind of irrelevant, or
Right, right.
they're like quickly made irrelevant.
Obsolete.
They're not
Mhm,
up with the current. And yet what's being lost, like all the oral traditions, and
mhm.
there's just so much wisdom from the past that can be seen as irrelevant, and yet it's like richness of culture and society that is probably kind of going out the window with the rise of technology.
Speaking of technology, it's interesting because you are on video so much. You make lots of videos for pottery and put them on social media, and your classes are on video. So you're constantly seeing yourself. I'm curious about, and you talked about it a little bit earlier already, but like what would it be like if we didn't have that constant seeing ourselves? Like, how would we be feeling about ourselves as we age? Would it be, I mean, it's sort of a moot point just because our lives are technology right now, but it makes me wonder what it would be like if we didn't have that constant seeing ourselves, or the youth are constantly on their phones taking pictures of themselves or selfies, or like immediate, like we used to take pictures and have to wait weeks or months
Right?
to get
Before
the
you saw
pictures
those
back.
pictures.
And most of them we'd throw away because they were crap, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
It's
Uh,
just so different, constantly seeing ourselves.
yeah. Even the mirror, even the mirror can be, I don't know, I feel like you can have a love relationship also with a mirror. You can learn to love yourself through seeing yourself. So I guess it's just about like how much does ageism grab us?
Hmm.
How much does it get us? How much does it turn us against ourselves and against the very natural process of aging? I
Right,
mean,
right.
it is inevitable, like getting older, it's just the way.
If you're lucky, like we said. So, and another thing that I'm curious about. So, Amy used to live in Eugene, and now you live in California, where the youth culture is stronger. Eugene is kind of like a hippy dippy town for in lots of ways. Like, not a lot of makeup here. Like, I'm kind of out of the norm. Most of my friends don't wear makeup, and I shave my armpits. Like I'm a little bit different in Eugene, but you've left, and now you're in more of a youth centered culture. And you've been there for a while. Like, how has it affected you? What do you see? How is it like? What's the world that you're in now that's different from where you were?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a small world. I don't like socialize all that much. And I would think of it more, I guess they're connected as a beauty-centered culture, but that's kind of the same thing. It's like the bias is towards looking young.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel pressure from kind of the inside circle around things like plastic surgery, and people are talking about how they look and how each other look all the time, and talking about their plastic surgery and their friends' plastic surgery, and our neighbor's a plastic surgeon, like it's kind
Oh,
of
yeah.
everywhere. It's like so DIY, I can get it down the block if I really
Right.
wanted, I guess. But I guess what's true for me is that I want to not care about it. Like I want to age gracefully. I want to like love my body as it ages. And I also, there's something about like, so I have to also say I don't want to get plastic surgery, but I would like to stay like as youthful feeling, maybe looking too. I have to admit I kind of like it better when I feel like I look young and beautiful and radiant and all those things. And so I started doing for a while, I've kind of stopped, but there's some of these face exercises on YouTube. And
Hmm.
I really love the idea that through kind of keeping our muscles alive and activated, that we can kind of keep a youthful face. And that's what I learned through doing some of these face exercises. This woman, her name is Imi, I-M-I. She's so cute. Japanese woman who does all these face things and some body things too. And the idea is that we, as we age, makes sense. We get into patterns, or maybe we feel weighed down by life and we stop using a lot of our facial muscles. So wrinkles are actually like a lack of muscle tone. And so face exercises and wake up all the different muscles of the face, the skin kind of goes along with it. The muscles pull the skin back up into place. And it's only when we stop using those face muscles and kind of like get a little blah in our energy that our face also
Interesting.
starts to hang. Yeah, yeah.
There's also probably collagen, right? Collagen plays a part in it as well. It's not just muscles, like the loss of collagen in our skin.
Yeah, but we can kind of stimulate the skin right through touch to produce collagen. Is that true? Does
I don't
massage?
know.
I
I
don't
don't
know
think so.
either. I'm out of my wheelhouse here. I don't know how to talk about. As soon as we go into collagen, I'm lost. I'm too old for this stuff.
Well, it's
Okay.
interesting too, because you said three things. You wanted to maintain youth, beauty, and radiance, because you can still have beauty and radiance without the youth. There's so many um, women. I'm talking women in particular, because there's also like a male female difference in our society. Like there's a bias against elderly or aging women, not even elderly. They're sort of more cast aside more quickly. There's like aging men still show up in the media, in movies, and as newscasters, but not so much aging women. So
Or
there
women
are,
look old. Because aging women like Jane Fonda, Meryl Streep, they just have maintained youth.
radiance and beauty, right? So there are women who are aging who have that radiance and beauty, and I just love feeling like maybe that's part of it, is filling my feed when I'm looking at, like, feeding myself images of women who are radiant and beautiful and aging.
As they age. Yeah.
Mhm.
I know that. I mean, that's my heart like lurches when I see an older radiant woman. I just feel so drawn to
Mhm.
older radiant women and
Mhm.
kind of to older women in general. But yeah, but I also, my heart hurts thinking about this differential between men aging and women aging, and this whole kind of feeling that men aging get more sophisticated
Right.
or even sexy
The
as
silver
they age,
fox.
silver
Mhm.
foxes, exactly, and women aging become, yeah, like cast off or something. It's just feel like I want to have a little funeral or something, or like have a little mourning about that it's just
What's the female version of a silver fox? It's not a cougar. I'm not talking about like sex. It's not about having sex with somebody else, but just stand alone, an older woman who is hot.
it's well, who's hot.
Like a silver fox is like a hot older man.
Yeah, yeah, because I was thinking about more in terms of wisdom, like, and being the crone. Like, I don't know, I guess that's kind of part of the problem, is that we're talking about like attractiveness or sexual attractiveness, and what's important in life. Like, is that
Mm,
the most important thing? Like, why do we value that so much over life experience, over wisdom, over knowledge, over heartfulness? I mean, there's so many other things to value besides what we look like. And
right.
some of that radiance does come from just living a fulfilled life and feeling empowered and feeling, satisfied in life. But yeah, there's there's this kind of funny edge where it's like, is that person attractive? And what do we mean by that? Like, are they magazine worthy, or do I want to be close to them? Or, I don't know. It's just like
Hmm.
sticky little, uh,
Well, I think when I see somebody that's like radiating positivity and heartfulness, and like their eyes are shining, like when they smile, their whole body smiles. Like to me, that's attractive. Like I'm attracted to that energy, not
Mhm.
sexually attracted. It's not like a sexual attraction, but I'm attracted to somebody who exudes that
Yeah,
passion and radiance
yeah.
and inner shine that comes through. It's attractive, but I don't mean like sexually attractive. Like I want to be around that person.
Yeah. So now I'm thinking about like Whoopi Goldberg, who
Mhm.
is like just a radiant being, but she's not traditionally like your like hot mama, she's not like, the traditional gorgeous woman, but her being to me is so attractive. And she's somebody who's aging and has that magnetism. And it's not about her beauty. It's never been about her beauty. She didn't get famous for her beauty,
Mhm. Mhm.
famous for who she is, her essence. And that's what I want to align with more, is just like my essence. And it's a distraction to the like self-criticism that comes in around the physical aspect of aging and looking, feeling like we're getting uglier or losing our radiant youthful beauty, and then like learning to see beyond that into the beauty of our essence. I think is just so important, knowing our value, like
Mhm.
what's my contribution to society? What am I really good at? Does it have to be like about how pretty I am? You know? And I mean, there's a fine line here where like somebody who is in their power is attractive, but it's not necessarily for the symmetry of their face or the lack of wrinkles. It's for something else. And I think
Mhm.
it could be completely wrinkle free and very unattractive,
Mhm.
completely symmetrical and very unattractive if you're disconnected from who you are, and which beauty can do to us. It can disconnect us from who we are. Like, and then it's skin deep, you know.
Um, my husband, my sweetie husband, Jesse, he often says the sexiest thing that a woman can wear is a smile.
Ah, Nima, my partner, he's like that too. Like that's what if I asked him what he's attracted to in women, he would say their smile. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like their
Like,
friendliness, their openness.
yeah.
So we're all doing the song and dance to look a certain way when what people really want, if they're like Nima and Jesse, is open-heartedness, and
Mhm.
friendliness and warmth. Everybody, okay, that's a generalization, but so often I think we are so worried about how others are going to judge us. It's like all about me. How are others going to judge me? Where if everybody's feeling that way, there's nobody to receive. We're just all afraid. That's why a smile is like, oh, this person accepts me. It's not about like,
Mhm.
am I attracted to their blonde hair or whatever? It's like, oh, I'm attracted to their welcomingness. They're welcoming. They accept me. That's all anybody really wants, is to be accepted. So we should all work on our smiles. Forget about, are they going to like
True.
me? It's like, can I like other
Okay,
people?
but then do you need like dental plastic surgery for bad teeth?
Is that what Jesse said? Is it about the
No,
teeth,
no,
or is it about the warmth?
the
It's about
energy.
the warmth.
Yeah. The other thing, I saw this really sweet thing. It's these two guys. They're just the sweetest thing. I think they're on Instagram, and I think if you find them, it's called "We Love You." I think it's
Huh?
just like they're so simple and so sweet, and they just have these sweet little conversations, and they're just sitting there on the
Just like
mountaintop,
us.
looking, yeah, looking at a little cloud, and guys like and talking about this little cloud, and like what a beautiful little cloud. And he said, imagine if the little cloud said, "Oh, you should have seen me an hour ago. I was really beautiful then." And he's like, but you're beautiful now. And then an hour later, the cloud changes again, and cloud's like, oh, you should have seen me an hour ago. I was really beautiful then. He's like, but you're beautiful now. Like, I
Mm,
see you right now. You're beautiful now.
wow. That's it. That's what we're talking about here. Aging clouds. We're all just
Right.
aging clouds,
We are.
shifting, and we're just as beautiful as we ever were.
Exactly. I mean, think about it. Cloud, is there a cloud that's like, oh,
Ugly. That one,
ugly cloud? That cloud should be embarrassed. That cloud should do some shape shifting.
workout, right? Face exercises.
Oh, no, it just really struck me. Like, I don't know, yeah, like when I meet somebody, they meet me now.
Yeah. Yes.
It was
Isn't that
really
funny when, like, on people's dating profiles, if they put an old picture of themselves, it's like, what's going on here? Or even like on websites and everything, it's like, here I am 20 years ago. Didn't I look good? Like, what are we
right.
doing? What are we doing with that? It's so common. And actually, I have some old pictures of myself, just because I took more selfies back in the day, and I just
Mhm.
haven't taken profile pictures in a while. And so I can be out here being like, why do you use those old pictures? And then I'm like, wait a minute, often I pick an old profile picture too.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, just because, I have to update them. But I do think that it's connected. Like, oh, I looked good in that picture, and I don't look that different than how I look now, is how I see it for myself. But
Mhm.
maybe somebody on the outside would be like, Amy, you have a lot of wrinkles now. Put your wrinkles on your picture.
I
Yeah.
just started for those who aren't seeing. I started growing out a big gray stripe. Like
Mm.
I dye my hair except for one gray stripe. I'm keeping gray, and I have gotten so many compliments from both men and women, mostly women actually. Now that I think about it, but just like that, I'm growing out a gray. Is I just it feels really good to me. It feels really good. I'm not quite ready to let go of all of the dye, but just a little bit.
Yeah.
It feels neat. I really like it.
Yeah, I never thought I'd be one to dye my hair, and then all of a sudden I just can't stop now. Just I like it so much better when it's all brown. Like I like
Why? Why?
I don't know. I feel like I start to look kind of sickly or something like that when my hair is like, if it grows in an inch or two and I see all the gray, it looks, I can't tell if it's that I don't like the contrast between the gray and then the brown, and it just like looks like weird to have that, that line of new hair
Hmm.
and old hair. Or is it just like, oh, I just feel like I look so much healthier. But then it's like, do I want to fool myself? Like, what if I'm not so healthy? I better find out.
Or does that go back to the like aging isn't healthy? Like we're not youthful, healthy. I mean,
Yeah,
like if everybody stopped dyeing their hair, that would just be the normal thing.
right.
Like it is an interesting thing.
Yeah,
Like connected to youth is better
yeah. I know. It's so in our systems,
because it's not honest. We're not being.
hmm But beauty is
How many
something,
men dye their hair?
no, hardly any, I think.
Probably not.
Yeah. Beauty
And
is,
then there was
oh, sorry. We're talking
good.
over.
There's a movement around COVID when people stopped going to salons where a lot of women stopped dyeing their hair. And then another thing on my Instagram feed is starting to find all of the silver haired women, people who have stopped and like these women are freaking gorgeous. Like I could snap my fingers and have all of my hair be white and like I think I would do it, because it's like it's stunning. It's show stopping to see
Wow.
a woman own her gray, own her
Yeah.
white, gosh, it's just gorgeous.
You can
White
do it next
hair,
time you go to the
red lip.
salon. Choose a different color if you want to.
Right? And then I'm like, I don't know.
Exactly. I take it back.
It's
Right.
it's like I admire and I'm also scared. I'm scared to let go. Like I'm in a dancing community and sometimes I forget like I'm dancing with people who are in their 20s and 30s. Some are
Mhm.
in their 40s, but not a lot of people my age are out there dancing. And I forget that I'm one of the older women out there until I go and wash my hands at the end of the night and look in the mirror and I look different than the other women out there.
Yeah.
I'm one of the older women on the dance floor. I don't feel it. I don't feel it in my body.
Yep. I don't think that we age as spirits, and And if you keep your body healthy, then we can always feel good inside our bodies. So
Right.
yeah, it's easy not to recognize it. That's the kind of the shock for me is when I see these videos, I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Like, when did that happen? I gotta do my face exercises.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, why? And yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of caught on why I care, like
Right.
I wish I did. If I could snap my fingers, I would want to just not care. I'd really want to just wash that off of me, this pressure that I have inside and outside that tells me I should look younger. I should stay as young looking as I can, forever and ever. I should spend a lot of time on that, a lot of money on that.
Right. Like if we spent our time, like I think of people who are young who are not happy, and the energy, the way that they are in their bodies, even though they're young, I, I'm not attracted to that energy. Like if we focus our energy more on our energy,
Hmm.
and that vibration and that vitality rather than the physicality of it.
And that's what other people are looking at in us. I mean, when we look out in the world on Instagram or wherever we are, we're looking for vitality. We're looking for
Mhm.
things we can learn. We're looking for inspiring things. We're looking for women with silver hair. However, on the inside, it's just so easy to feel like we have to look a certain way or feel a certain, yeah, that we want to present a certain look to the world. And that's where, for me, where I get stuck is like trusting. That's the leap of faith. Trusting that my essence, my vitality, who I am, what I say, how I bring myself to the world is more than enough and is the thing that people want from me, not my wrinkleless face. Nobody's
Right.
like even seeing my face. They're looking at my pots, they don't care. They don't care what I look like. I'm here to teach them something, I'm here to show them something or even to say something inspiring, but it's not nobody else except for me cares about how I look. And I don't want another partner. I'm not here to draw in other lovers or anything like that. I'm all set there. I'm not like playing the field in any way of like trying to attract people to my body. I don't need anybody to be attracted to my body. I really don't. Yeah. But there is this kind of like, okay, so then I can leap from there into the threat of if I'm not attractive anymore, like, will I lose my lover? Will like they go to the next 20-year-old who comes along if I don't stay vibrant? But vibrant is different than the physical beauty
Right.
thing.
Exactly.
It's like we have to
Yeah.
keep separating that out. And it's interesting just to have this conversation and see how knotted together all that is this belief that youth, beauty, vibrancy, aliveness, that those are all the same thing, but they're
All
so
of those things take out the youth because we can't control that. We are not, we are aging, but we can work on vitality and what were some of the other things? And aliveness and energy
vibrancy.
and passion. Like those things we can continue to cultivate.
Yeah.
And that ultimately is what shines out our eyes and shines out our smile and draws people to us.
Yeah.
And then trying to hold on to the youth actually can be kind of off-putting. I mean, we've all seen people who have had way too much plastic surgery and it just looks off. It
Yes.
just looks a little off. And it's not something that I'm drawn to the other things. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think we figured it out, Aim.
Yeah, just take out the youth. Take out the youth
Yeah,
thing.
stop
Take out the
trying the youth thing because that's, we will never, we're chasing the wrong thing.
yeah.
All these other things we actually have control over. We can't control time. Well, time is nonlinear. Maybe we can control time. We can't get younger,
Mm-hmm.
but we can walk towards our passion. We can, vitality and aliveness and health as much as we can, eating well, moving, like all the things. There's so many things that we can work on that are ultimately more attractive than chasing youth.
Yeah. Yes.
That's it. We figured it out.
Recently, I like bought some new face cream or something, and I liked the woman's little promotion, which was like, if you really believe in anti-aging products, like that is a lie. That is an advertising lie. There's no way to stop aging. However, you can look radiant as you get older, like
Mhm.
that is possible. Your skin can stay healthy. Yes, but nothing is anti-aging, like we don't go backwards.
Yeah. I started using products called Age Well instead of anti-aging.
Nice,
It's Age
nice.
Well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful.
Hmm.
Mine, I wish I had it here because I really like it. It's called Wella Moon, I think. No, 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 that was never mind. Those are my sleep patches. That was terrible. My this is it's a really cool one. It has some kind of like constellation title.
Huh,
But
cool.
anyway, I wanted to name, if I can think of them, some of the actresses or famous people who are getting older and choosing
Oh yeah.
purposefully to not do plastic surgery, like Jodie Foster, and I think
Sarah
what
Jessica
Sarah
Parker.
Jessica Parker. Yeah, I remember
Helen Mirren.
who?
Helen Mirren.
I don't know who that
Oh
is.
my gosh, she's so gorgeous. Gorgeous. Just radiant.
Great.
Meryl Streep, you mentioned her.
Does she not do any of that stuff?
I don't think so. Who knows? I don't
Don't
know.
know. I mean, I
Who
just
knows?
have heard the other ones speak against it,
Okay, yes, definitely Sarah Jessica Parker has mentioned that. Like she came out recently. They did like they showed a picture when she's young, and then they caught a picture of her when she was like drinking coffee. She's like, I know what I look like. I know I'm
Uh-huh.
aging. What do you want me to do? Not age? Like she just was
Right.
like so sassy about it.
Yeah. Jodie Foster too had like some
Mhm.
kind of a expo on that.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Right.
so I just wanted to do a shout out to all the people, famous and not famous, who are like choosing to embrace their aging. I just want to say thank you because we need role models like that. We just
Mhm.
really need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has
Well,
been helpful for me.
say
'Cause I
more.
know what that just to realize like what I can focus on is that passion, vibrancy, energy piece. Like I know how to do that. Like I
Mhm.
don't have to be afraid to age, like I don't have to go be chasing youth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do love my lotions and potions, so I love like the face oil that I have at night, and just is like really, I mean, whether it's actually doing anything for my skin other than like self love, that's part of the vibrancy. That's part of like filling me up. Does my eye cream actually take the puffiness away? Doesn't matter. I'm like loving my face twice a day.
Yeah, yeah. I've really slowed down when I apply anything on my face. I just do it really slowly and I like feel how it feels inside my face to
Mhm.
be touched. And it's just so nice to use that time instead of like scrub, 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 put it on, get it, to like actually like, yeah, use that time to really touch ourselves with love and on our
Mhm.
faces.
I started getting a facial every 6 weeks or 2 months, and it's like an hour long facial. And the way that she touches my skin, I kind of emulate her touch when I think about it, which is very similar. Like she doesn't just like like a light, firm touch, but there's no like smashing things on. It's really self care. And so when I do that, it's like not a ritual necessarily. It's not that, but like could be, but just like loving myself, instead of like looking closely at all the wrinkles and like, but just
Scrutinizing.
right,
Yeah.
scrutinizing is the opposite. Is the opposite,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes. It makes such a big difference.
Yeah,
I do think of it as a ritual. Like the moment I change from like putting on my face cream to like, oh right, remember, like just slow down a little bit. Just that's all I have to do is slow down. I find
hmm
that that's always the key to kind of come into a state of presence is like just slow down and then you're automatically,
right.
more aware of what you're doing.
Mm.
Yeah.
All right,
Rituals.
gorgeous.
Woohoo. Yes, that was great.
hmm hmm
Thanks,
All right.
Jess.
Thanks, Aim. I
Thanks
love
everybody for
this.
listening. Yeah, yeah, it was great. Yeah,
hmm
yeah,
Okay, and feel free to leave comments or let us know what you think, and if you
yeah.
have anything to share about this or something in the future you want us to talk about, or you know, hear us giggling around about whatever, just give a shout out. Love to hear from you.
And if you think that our podcast is worth listening to for some reason, we could use a couple of reviews. I think we have two in the whole lifetime of our entire podcast. So go wherever you're listening to the podcast and click some stars and say a couple things. That would be
That'd
so
be
awesome.
awesome. We'd love to
Thank
hear from
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Love you
Bye,
so much.
everybody. Until
Bye.
next time.
See you soon.
See you later. See you soon. Yeah. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye, Jess. Bye.